We are surrounded by ravens. Sometimes they can be seen in swarms above the adjacent hillside, obviously enjoying themselves tremendously. The adults often congregate in the trees north of us. They must have a nest nearby. I went searching for it, but the crowns of the Douglas firs are so tight that I was not able to locate it. In June, when we started being here more regularly, there were newly fledged young ravens in the trees by the house. Our ravens here are not shy at all. Some neighbors put food out regularly, and every fall, some hunters put the remains of their kill out by a nearby road. Then one can often see more than a dozen ravens in the trees surrounding the bones. Recently, I also started to put food out for them. The first was a roadkill rabbit, and then some chicken drumsticks which were beyond repair. Everything was gone within hours. Working on preparing some brown chicken stock from 10 pounds of chicken backs last Sunday evening, I got the idea that this would produce plenty of bait for the ravens. The stock was finished by noon on Monday. Keeping some 2 pounds of the thoroughly boiled chicken remains for our dog Lorbas, I put a heap of some 8 pounds out at the feeding spot. That was about 10 minutes after 2 in the afternoon. To my surprise, it took only minutes before a raven was on the scene. So at about 20 minutes to 3, I put a camera mounted on a tripod out on the deck, some 40 meters away from the heap of food, to record whatever might happen next. I went back into the kitchen to work on dinner. After half an hour, I retrieved the camera and looked at the video. A sizable pile of food is visible in front of a bunch of arbutus, or Pacific manzanita trees, very evident by their conspicuous red bark. The food consists of whitish stuff, which is chicken meat and bones, intermingled with some orangey bits, which are morsels of carrots used in the preparation of the stock. A splendid raven arrived a mere 7 minutes after the start of the camera. It was a little jittery at first, but quickly seemed to regain enough confidence to start seriously gorging itself before flying off with a load of loot. I guess it was that same raven which returned at essentially minute intervals to repeat the procedure. Then, some 15 minutes after the camera had been set up and started, 2 splendid ravens arrived, all puffed up in demonstration of their self-importance, the ears raised. They strutted about, but then quickly concentrated on packing in and flying off to their caches. They reappeared and went on in this manner for another 5 minutes or so. About 25 minutes after the camera had been set up, and a mere 10 seconds after the last of the apparently dominant pair had left with a pouch and a beak full of food, a very different raven arrived. It was very jittery and frightful, and tried, but did not quite dare to retrieve food. Eventually, it was chased off. Later, shortly before 4 in the afternoon, I reinstalled the camera. This time it took a good 15 minutes after starting the camera before ravens arrived. By now the sun had lowered and the ravens were in the shade, but that almost enhances the beauty of the plumage. The feeding went on till dark. The next morning at sunrise, around 7 a.m., there were still 2 raven pecking at the ground. When I checked the spot a little later at 8, there were no traces of food left which I could discern.